Hey Nomads, welcome to another episode of Travel Nursing and Allied Life. I'm your host today, Dylan Callier, traveling physical therapist. Might recognize me from the New Medical Nomads podcast. And today what we're talking about is what to do when the market starts to slow down. So buckle in, we're going to be talking about some markets are starting to slow down now that we are kind of getting further out from this pandemic. And kind of what to do, what that means for you, how to play the game, even though the rules are changing. So this is mostly going to be for nurses. Currently, Allied and other markets were not nearly as impacted with the pandemic as nursing was. And because of that, we're not seeing the dip that a lot of these nursing markets are seeing, at least in their pay rates. And the big thing to know with what we mean by market is supply and demand. So the reason that nursing pay is starting to go down is because there's not as much demand for those nursing positions. Whatever it might be for that specific area, they just don't have the need that they once had a year or two ago. And so that's the big thing, the big takeaway. And my pet peeve, we go through these cycles of markets and they go up and down. And anytime that we start seeing the market go down, which I wouldn't necessarily call it going down, it's more like it's leveling out because the pandemic had such a spike up and then now it's kind of like leveling out. And I think ultimately healthcare will still land higher than what we were 3 years ago. But anytime the market starts going down, especially in like Facebook groups, you see people post, oh, it's all because of the new nurses, or it's all because of the new travelers, and they're taking these low rates and they're ruining it for everybody. And that's just not true. If anything, we have the most educated travelers that we've ever had in history right now, because there's so much information out there compared to what was there even just 5 years ago. Secondly, people taking low rates, they're always there, right? Nobody's going to take a low rate because they want to. It's because that's probably the only option they have. Whether or not they need to stick around that area, maybe they're traveling on the outskirts trying to stick close to home because they got kids. Maybe they have a significant other that's in this one city, so they're trying to stay close to that. Maybe it's a licensure issue. And they only have a few options that actually work for them. So usually it's something limiting them, and then they take the best option that they have. And they will do that during a high market, not this individual, but in general, people will do that during a high market and people will do that during a low market. Nothing changes on them. The only thing that has changed is the supply of jobs. So it's not on new nurses. They are not the villain of this story. They're not ignorant and ruining it for the rest of us. It is because there is less supply of jobs out there, or demand has increased because travel nursing has become so popular. Let's say that. So here's some tips on those who are getting into the market that is now a little bit lower. I feel like a lot of us have gotten used to these, inflated prices, what we lovingly call fair weather travelers. And what we might see is that some people stop traveling. They go back to perm jobs. And this is just the natural cycle of things. But if you are wanting to stick in travel and still get those higher paying jobs, or the highest paying job that you can get, these are going to be tips to help you out. Generally, the more flexible you can be, the higher pay rate you will get. So if you are only wanting to stick within 3 states, somebody who's willing to go to anywhere out on the West Coast, including like Arizona, Colorado, anywhere west, they will generally have a better opportunity to get higher paying jobs than somebody who's limiting themselves to 2 to 3 states. Know where the higher paying jobs tend to be. Usually it's on the coasts. California is usually number 1 for all professions. And then it kind of goes back and forth between different professions, but like New York, Massachusetts, kind of that area for the East Coast tend to be higher paying. So know where the higher paying jobs will be, and be flexible, the more flexible you can be, for location, whether it's, making sure you have your nursing compact, making sure that you have the ability to drive three states over versus staying in the state that you've been for a little bit. Those will make you more likely to land those higher paying opportunities. And then finally, this big umbrella is just be fast. A lot of people are going to be drawn to these higher paying contracts, especially if there's less of them out there. So you want to submit paperwork quickly. This means all the paperwork that's needed for that recruiter and for that staffing agency. So, get the questionnaires done, get your profile done, and then that way you're ready to go and start submitting their jobs. Take interviews as soon as you can. If you get called from an interview and either you miss it, call them right back, or even if you're in a bad quote-unquote interview environment, maybe it's really noisy, maybe you're at home at a family celebration, answer it anyways and say, hey, can you give me 5 minutes to get to a better spot, and then go ahead and start the interview then. But be as quick as you can with picking up that interview, because most hospitals aren't necessarily looking for the best candidate. They're just looking for the candidate to fill the quickest, because they have a lot of other things to do on their list as well. So the faster they can fill it, the better. And as soon as they find somebody to fill it, they usually stop with the interview process. And then finally, another tip would be consider to give one of your recruiters the okay to like auto submit. So tell them, if you have a job that comes through and has these specific things, go ahead and just submit me. Don't ask for my permission to submit. And that could be something like, if it is a job within this city, or within like an hour of this city, and has day shift, go ahead and just submit me, and we'll figure out the pay later. And that will make sure that you are one of the first that pops up on the desk, and then you get that first phone call for the interviews. But now that we're starting to see that market go down a little bit, those are some tips in order to keep your paychecks a little higher as we watch the pay rates go down a little bit. But that is it. Do not blame the new nurses, the new travelers. It is not their fault that these pay rates are going down. This is just a natural cycle, and we're going through it again. But yes, hope to see you all at TravCon this year, TravCon 2023. Always in September, always in Las Vegas. And this year it's September 17th to the 20th. So if you don't have tickets, go ahead and buy those. And I look forward to seeing you there.